we go. Right. So what we're going to start off is just going to look at a few different angles.
Yeah.
What we'll probably start off by doing is we'll identify some things that are going on in your swimming, but these tend to be the effect rather than the actual cause. So it's then a kind of, there's a number of things going on that we can have a look at and see what, but then it's kind of finding out what's causing those. So set you off, just to start off with. Just looking from the side to start off with, this is very much looking at your rotation and particularly looking at your breathing. I'll just slow it down a little bit there. So good to see that you're getting, reasonable clearance over the water. Could be a little bit higher, particularly if you were going open water. Yeah. Now, one of the things is, a lot of people do sort of focus on this sort of pretty high elbow sort of type of swimming. It's not really, doesn't really achieve anything. Okay, as long as your arm's coming around, your arm feels relaxed. That's the main thing that we're looking for. One area we probably do need to sort of like clean up a little bit is just your hand into the water. Your sort of forearm tends to lay on the water a little bit first. So rather than your fingertips spearing the water and going in, your arm sort of lands on the water first. On this other side here, a little bit again, slightly better with a spear, but we could probably just do getting your spear in the water a little bit sooner. Now, interesting here, when you go to take a breath, obviously quite a lot of head movement, head coming out of the water. Ideally, what we'd like to see is like at least half of that lower goggle lens sort of in the water. Now, it's very easy to tell you to stick your head back in the water, but that again, this is an effect of potentially something else that's going on. Obviously, you're working very, very hard at the moment.
Yes.
So obviously, do you feel like you're fighting for a breath?
I'm always feeling like I'm fighting for a breath, and I'm surprised. I'm surprised my mouth's so clear of the water. I always felt that I was just struggling to get some air in there. Yeah,
and it can feel like, but because, particularly if you're using a lot of energy, it'll feel like there'll be almost like a desperation to get the air in, sort of thing. And that's one of the things that we need to. Again, it's a symptom, not necessarily the cause, but getting in there, getting the breath, getting the breath a little bit higher, but we'll see why that is. And again, we see that arm come down a little bit low again. So we'll probably get you just thinking about entering the water a little bit. Not too bad on that right arm.
Yes,
not too bad on a couple of times there where you just sort of you sort of focusing on your stroke rather than breathing.
Yeah.
But so slightly better spear there. That's a little bit better towards the back end of the stroke. It's almost as you started thinking about it a little bit there. We're generally not bad at all. We just have to look what's causing you to lift that head so much when you go take a breath. Quite a good rhythm in your stroke. Not bad at all. So if we advance it on a little bit further, get you to when we're above the water. Here we go. So this is always an interesting shot because we'll see quite a lot going on here. Now, one of the interesting things here is particularly when you go take I'll just play it for a little bit actually. So your leg kick's not too bad. There is every now and again just a little bit of a scissor kick, ever so slightly small one. Okay. Now that's particularly when you go to take a breath.
Yes.
Now, what's happening there is you just get this ever so slight scissor kick. It's not too bad actually.
But I know what you mean.
Your legs kick out. Now the reason that happens is, and we go for an even bigger one. We go back on here.
Yeah.
What's happening there is, if you look at your arm positions here, you're actually ending up with a position where pretty much both arms are behind the head. You haven't got any sort of support at the moment at the front end of your stroke.
Yes.
Now what happens there is, because you haven't got any support, your legs automatically kick out a little bit just to try and stabilise you.
So my arm should be in front.
Yeah, it should. What we should at least see it just slightly forward of your head. Okay.
Yeah.
Now if you watch this, now if I just play this real time, because you're going to take a breath, watch that arm just disappear, it claps away. See how it just collapses away underneath you? Now, because of that, there's no stability and that causes the legs to kick out. But this will also be causing you to lift your head out of the water quite high.
Is that because I'm pushing down with my hand, or?
No, literally what it is, because you just sort of play through. Because your focus is here on breathing.
Yeah.
you're not actually thinking about what's going on here.
Yeah.
And simply what happens is, because you just focus on getting a breath in, there's no actual sort of technique to the catch on that stroke.
Yeah.
So you can see there, on that one particularly there, the arm, they're even quite well behind. Even if we drew the line across here, quite well. So that lack of purchase is causing you to actually need to lift your head because there's nothing there supporting you. Technically, your body's going to sink back in the water, and that'll cause you to crane your neck to keep your mouth out of the water.
So the difference would be...
Make sure we get a catch. So we talk about front quadrant swimming.
Yes.
So we'll talk about... So if you've got that purchase there, what you'd find is that you'd always end up with one hand in front of the head. Now, with some people, some strokes, it's very, very close. You know, it doesn't mean that you're holding a hand there and bringing this one all the way in.
Yeah.
You start stroking here as this hand comes back to swap places with it.
Yes.
Okay, but we always tend to have at least one hand slightly forward of the head position. Now, if we show you an example of that, a really good example would be Jono Van Hazel. Now, you've probably seen this video you might have seen it on the Swim Smooth stuff. We get Jono from the top. Good. Where is it? Start here. Let's set you going again there. So let's try and get Jono a breathing stroke. He breathes very often. Here we go. He's going to breathe. So even though he's taking a breath there, notice his hands there, and he is catching the water and pulling back. But his hands almost, it ends up with a slight point where both hands are slightly in front of the head.
Yes.
Never at any point are they, as we saw on yours, where they were both behind.
Yeah.
Now, if we just play Jono's again, just watch his strokes, you can see that he's getting that, even when he takes a breath, he's getting that propulsion. Yeah. The arm is pulling rather than just collapsing away. Yeah. And it's a really common thing, so certainly wouldn't, it's something we can correct. So, again, that comes down to we need to tidy up the catch and pull. See a little bit up closer here. So even when he takes a breath, there he goes, he's pulling on the water. Got the rhythm rather than letting the arm collapse away. So, go back to yourself here. Just get rid of all these. So the other thing we look from this angle as well is your forward extension. There's a little, this arm, even though the hand's in line with the shoulder, the elbow remains quite bent.
Right.
And then, again, obviously this is on the breathing, the arm's collapsed away on that side as well. So it's not too bad on that. So you get a decent extension on that side.
Yes.
So what we're looking for is that arm probably needing to be a little bit straighter at the front of the stroke. And it's not too bad there, but he's tending to sweep out to the side. So notice how it,
I thought we were.
So your alignment's not too bad, but what? So we do end up with reasonable alignment, but what tends to happen is the hand tends to slip out wide.
Yes.
See how that hand's suddenly gone out wide over here?
Yes.
Pulling quite wide. So fundamentally what we're seeing there is a little bit of a lack of traction at the front end of the stroke, and this will mean that you're actually, you're not getting as much bang for buck with your stroke. Now if we go to a view from the side, just play this through. Now, you can see that kick you do at the start to keep you said you to keep your body up. So your body position starts quite good, but then notice how it sort of gradually just starts dropping down.
Yes.
So now we talked about. So it's not the worst we've ever seen. I'll tell you now. So don't beat yourself up about it. But it could certainly be higher. Yeah. And it's again what's causing that. And whilst it's very easy to focus here on the back end to see what's going on, actually it tends to be the front end that's causing it. So we just skip forward ever so slightly. So just focus here a bit more on your. Let's get you in on the breathing side. Here we go. Now, you can see the leg position there.
Yeah.
Now you're in front of your stroke here. Basically, if you watch the path of your hand, you mentioned earlier about pressing down.
Yes.
There's a real big press down. It's not really till about here that you actually start pressing back on the water.
Right.
Now, if you look there, your body positions actually got slightly worse. So what's happened here is, because you're pressing down here, this lifts you here, which then sinks you here.
Yeah.
Okay, so we need to eliminate this press down that's going on. Now, if I just take that back, what's quite interesting is kind of very, very, you went to the water, nice little bit of fingertips first there, and you really stretch out quite high in the water. Now, if you see what happened there is we get ever so slightly, the elbow starts, it's only very slight that the elbow has dropped there. So, you know, we've got, it's only ever so slightly dropped. Well, that elbow never really recovers, particularly when we get back to here. The elbow is quite some way behind the hand. We need to be able to get that elbow up and a little bit higher. We'll see that from the front in a moment.
So you're saying that the elbow comes back first, almost?
Yeah, your elbow's dropping and pulling back. What we need to be doing is we need to be extending forward and lifting that elbow and pressing the hand back.
Right.
Okay, so we'll see as an example. If we just bring Rebecca Adlington in here, so we're really fortunate to have some footage here of Becky. Now, if we watch what Becky does here, she's got great forward extension in her. She's got great flexibility. See, so she instantly starts. She does press down ever so slightly, but she starts tips the fingertips. But notice how high the elbow stays, so that she ends up pressing back. You might see it a little bit better on this arm. So notice she just tips the fingertips there, so she instantly starts pressing back. So instantly she's right, I'm going to push back on the water here. She pushes back. Notice how, if we compare that to how your elbow dropped, what we've got here with Becky's elbow is we've got this nice, what we call a high elbow. So when we talk about high elbow swimming, we're not talking about a high elbow out of the water when we recover the arm. We're talking about keeping the elbow high in the catch phase of the stroke. You're just letting it drop ever so slightly. Now I'll show you a little experiment in a moment that'll feel that. But if we just go back to tracing Becky's stroke here, again she'll press back. She's pressing back. She's pressing back in this lovely arc. So everything she does is about pressing back on the water, rather than actually where we see with yourself. Bring your arm back up. Where even though you've got those fingertips tipped down at the moment, it tends to flatten out, and you're getting this press down. There's more. It's ever so slightly pushing back, but we need to get that. We need to get that elbow up, so that we're pressing back a lot earlier on the water. Now, if we just go back to taking Becky up to a forward extension, take you back to the same position. How are you flexibility-wise?
Not especially flexible.
If you sit back with your small leg back against the wall there, and shoulder width apart, if you just lift your arms up and just go to a point where you're not lifting your back off the wall, you're not arching your back, and it feels relaxed, you're not straining. You've got reasonable flexibility. Are you arching your back a bit there?
A little bit,
You put your back flat against the wall, so there's no strain in your back at all.
Right, that's about it.
Is that it? And does that feel relaxed in the chest? And
well, there's a little bit of tightness in the chest.
do you want to relax it down a little bit? Not too bad then. You've got pretty reasonable flexibility. The reason I ask this is often we try and mimic someone like Becky. Now, what we see there is that she's hyper flexible, got super flexibility. She can get the arm all the way up here. Now, with some people, what often also causes the legs to sink is a bit of tension across here. Now, for example, for me, because I'm quite tight, that's about my comfy position.
Oh, right.
You know, about there. Now, if you think about if I'm trying to reach back up here, all this tension that in here, and you can feel the tension. If you stretch your arms as far back as you can, you'll feel the tension in your lower back. And that pressure will whilst you're in the water transfers into the lower back and causes you to sink your legs a little bit further. So you've got reasonable flexibility.
Right.
But what we do need to do is we need to make sure that rather than thinking about extending straight up underneath the water, that we extend down into the catch.
Yeah.
So if we go back at this position here, what we need to do is, more than happy, you'd probably be better off just ever so slightly keeping the elbow high, but dropping the hand a little bit lower into the water.
Yeah.
So we spear down with the elbow up.
Yeah.
So we've still got a straight arm extending out from the shoulder.
Yeah.
But we're spearing down, so that the fingertips might be a good sort of like 300 mil below the surface of the water. Not cupped like that, just so we've got the fingertips below the wrist and the wrist below the elbow. We've got this like arc.
Right.
And because of that, and we're moving that way, the water should pick our hand up and carry it through. We should never, obviously, we can't all be as flexible as Becky, so we need to make sure that we are not trying to sort of replicate that too much. But what we do need to replicate is keeping that elbow high.
Yeah. See
how that elbow stays fixed.
Yeah.
Like so. Now, if we just look at that from the front, I'll just get rid of Becky for a moment and just get your looking at it from the front. Right. Now we saw those from the top. We saw those arms sweeping out.
Mm-hmm.
This is where we're going to see the real big difference between you and Becky. Even on your non-breathing side, we've got this arm sweeping really, really out wide here. Now, what we often look for here is, and probably the easiest thing to do here is do a comparison. Again, bring Becky back in, because this is what Becky does really, really well. And we joke about bend it like Becky, because she's got this superb position with her arm. Here we go. So again, on this same arm. You can see there she's dropped the fingertips down, kept the elbow high. And notice how she's pulling through with this lovely half diamond shape arm. Now if we were to measure that with the angle, 160 degrees?
Yeah.
107, that's come out as. Now, obviously with yourself, you've got a very, very, very straight arm. So as well as pushing down, that's 170 degrees.
Yeah.
So what we need to do is we need to find a position. We need to keep that elbow up, but we need to bring that hand back in so it's underneath the shoulder. Now, if we just on Becky's side there, if we just draw a rough line along the surface of the water, then drop a line about 90 degrees off that. It's a bad camera angle, so it's not great. Is that roughly 90 degrees off?
I think the other line needs to be up a bit, but
I
take your point.
Yeah.
It's 90 degrees from her shoulders, in fact.
But pretty much what she's doing is she's pulling the hand underneath the shoulder.
Yeah.
And that's what we need to get you doing here as well.
Yeah.
If we just go on your, particularly, that's me going past the steps, so we'll just forward it past there. Even on this other arm here, it's sweeping very, very wide there, incredibly wide. Now what that'll be doing is, because you've got a straight arm, do you ever get any shoulder pain?
Not especially.
No. You'll be putting a lot of strain through your shoulders. And just to show you that sort of effectiveness, if you want to stand up, I'll show you a little experiment we do, a little exercise. So if you stand straight in front of me, if you put your right arm straight out in front of you, like that, as if you're you're pulling with your straight arm, aren't you? If you press down as hard as you can, it's very easy for me to resist that.
Yeah.
I can feel you shake.
Yeah.
You can see that all the effort, all the strain's in the top of your shoulder.
Yeah.
Can you feel that?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Feel all the strain here. You can see the muscle shaking.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, if we think about replicating what Becky was doing, if we get that elbow up, just a little bit of a through the shoulder, got that hand in line with the shoulder. Yeah. As long as you keep that elbow up now, press down, you can put a lot more force through there.
Right.
And where do you feel the effort coming from?
On the. Do
you feel anything from here?
I don't actually, but I feel it all in there.
Right. So just lift the elbow up a little bit. Try and keep your body upright. So keep your shoulders up. That's it. Like that. And press down. Feel anything in here and in the back?
It's all coming in there.
Is it? Right.
It could be something to do with rowing. I don't know.
No, it's all right. But from rowing, you'll have strong back muscles.
Yes.
But I can feel straight away. Can you feel that you can apply more force?
More force. Yes.
So if you just turn yourself about 45 degrees that way,
Yeah.
do it. So we open up the back muscles even further.
Yeah.
Now press. Yeah, and straight away there's more force there.
Yes.
And that'll be because you're using more your back muscles
Yes.
and more your chest muscles,
Yeah.
rather than just using
Yeah.
the shoulder muscles.
Yeah.
Now, if I was going to get you to swim to the deep end now
Yes.
and climb out, how would you climb out?
I would pull myself up and then push down.
When
like
you push down like that.
Yes.
And funny enough, automatically, because it's the most efficient way to climb, you put both hands in front of each shoulder,
Yeah.
lift your elbows and press.
That's.
Ultimately, and even if you had to reach up, you'd do the same. You'd reach up,
Yes.
you'd get your elbows up high,
Yeah.
so you can lever
I've
yourself
got to get
up.
the right picture in my head, because the picture I was given was, think of a bloke carrying 2 barrels of beer underneath his arms, which was slightly wrong.
Because you'd be
It's
putting
actually a bit
out
wide,
wide, yeah.
and it's not like that, is it? It's,
Now, if you think about what Becky's doing there, she's almost like she's climbing through the water one hand at a time.
yes.
So, whereas that's a diamond shape, almost,
Yes.
if we're going to climb there, we're going to
Yeah.
diamond shape, what she's doing is she's reaching forward, she's one arm at a time, forming a half diamond shape, and opening up those back muscles to climb herself through the
That's
water.
the picture I need, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that
So-
picture's just, it's...
So we'll probably use a couple of other analogies when we get you back in the water in a moment.
Yeah.
But this is going to be the key fundamental thing that's going to make you more efficient. At the moment, you're using these tiny muscles that are not very efficient in the shoulder, whereas this is going to open up your back
Yeah.
and make you more efficient. So visualize that.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to replicate. But it's all a start of getting that entry position, lifting the elbow,
Yes.
and pressing back underneath the shoulder.
Yes.
Any questions? What do you think of that?
Oh, that's good. That's good, because that's...
Did you think
That's
your arms were going that wide?
No, I didn't. I thought they were actually doing something. I thought I had that right. I thought I didn't realise my head was coming as clear as it was.
Yeah.
And I didn't realise that I was pushing down so much. I thought I got that right.
So
So it wasn't like I said. I thought it was something to do with my legs that was going wrong. And it's
it's very easy to focus on the legs because
Yes.
that's what feels like that's obviously causing a lot of drag, and that
Yes.
feels like it's the problem.
Yes.
But what's causing that is that we need to tidy that catch up. So we're not pressing down, we're not sweeping out,
Yes.
we're actually pressing back.
So we're diving and pulling back.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
So just for a bit of fun here, just to make it fair, I'll have the speed of Becky's as
You
well.
don't want me to race.
Yeah, you can have a race against Becky. Look, just a bit of comparison of 2 strokes.
Yeah.
You see how she presses back all the way through.
Yes, but I'm so clearly sweeping away from me.
Yeah. So we can get Becky from the side a bit now here. She keeps that elbow up in the water.
Yeah.
So it's almost like the elbow stays there and that is the hand and the forearm that press
Yeah.
back. And notice how she carries it all the way, press all the way through
Yeah.
the stroke. And that's why she's got great body position.
Yeah.
Not necessarily, you know.
It's nothing to do with anything else. I thought
Yeah.
it was, and I also thought it was a lot to do with the breathing. I thought there was something doing, but we're seeing the scissor kick, aren't we, with the breathing?
Yeah, we'll see what happens with your breathing.
Yeah.
I've deliberately not focused on your breathing because actually making you more efficient with your catch and pull should help your breathing. You've already
Yeah.
mastered bilateral breathing.
Yes.
This should make it.
So I was almost wondering about whether I was just breathing wrong, that I was just not breathing enough air or something.